Hello, welcome again. So, in this video, I'm going to help you with the translation of a complaint. So, for these purposes, I have here an extract of a complaint. It's a publicly available document which will we use to translate into Spanish. Okay? So I have here the parts of the complaint that I will be working on in this video, and I have copied them and placed them here in a two column, one for English and one for Spanish, as I will be working on it to help you with the translation of certain terms, specifically the more technical legal terms. Okay? So let's begin. So the complaint starts with the title of the court in which the complaint was filed, in the Superior Court for the State of Alaska, which I translated as en el tribunal. You can use both of these, en el tribunal or en la corte, as you wish. Both are correct. El Tribunal Superior del Estado de Alaska. Third Judicial District at Palmer, Tercer Distrito Judicial de Palmer. Now we have here the plaintiff, Margie Lou Welch, by and through her public guardian, Charlotte Honer. Okay, so I will just use the same names. So Margie Lou Welch, we will use por y a través de su tutora. We will use the translation as for public guardian as tutor, but in this case, as she's a woman, we will use tutora. We can use either way, or tutor, which is a masculine version. Remember that in Spanish we have feminine and masculine words for almost every word. Okay, so we can use tutor or tutora, Charlotte Honer, versus the defendant, Constance Lynn Makeson, demandada. That's the defendant, la parte demandada, right? Okay. The number of the case, it's a civil case. Caso número whatever. Civil, it's the same in Spanish. Complaint es la demanda. Okay? The complaint, the initial filing that the plaintiff files, it's called in Spanish the demanda. Okay. So, the plaintiff. La parte actora. That's gonna be our plaintiff. La parte actora, Margie Lou Welch. A través de su tutora, Charlotte Honer, appears before this court. Okay, appears, we will translate it as comparece. We can use a literal translation, aparece, but aparece has more of a meaning like a magician suddenly appears. That's not what we want to say here. We want to say that the plaintiff appears before the court, so the correct word in this case would be comparece. Ante este tribunal o corte, it's also correct. I will put it right here, whichever word you want to use, tribunal or corte. solicitando daños en exceso de $30,000 de la demandada, and we will use the name of the defendant. Okay. Dichos daños, such damages, dichos daños surgen de one. So in English we have conversion of funds belonging to Welch. So conversion, it's a crime, it's a property crime. There's a similar crime in most Spanish-speaking jurisdiction called abuso de confianza. But I think for purposes of translation, we can use apropiación ilegal as a correct translation of conversion. Apropiación ilegal de los fondos pertenecientes a Welch. Breach of her fiduciary duties. Incumplimiento de sus deberes fiduciarios. Hacia Welch. 3. Breach of the covenant of good faith and fair dealing in her interactions with Welch. Incumplimiento de la obligación de buena fe y tratos justos en su interacción con Welch. Y 4. Conducta fraudulenta al obtener y usar un dispositivo de acceso propiedad de Welch. Okay, now we have something missing here. This possessive word makes sense. We have to see where we can put that. We can use we can include it here. Okay. De las siguientes conductas por parte de Mason. Okay, that's I think that's a fairly good translation. Okay, now parties to the trial. Partes. Okay. Welch es una persona, or we can use una persona or an individual as well. Un individuo que reside en Wasilla, Alaska, en el tercer distrito judicial del estado de Alaska. Okay. Number 2. Pursuant to an order of this court, de acuerdo con una orden de este tribunal o de esta corte, de fecha 15 de marzo de 2012, and can include here the file number. James y Cindy Springer fueron designados tutores de Welch. Remember, we are using the word tutor to translate guardianship or guardians. Okay. 3. De acuerdo con una orden de este tribunal de fecha noviembre 26, 2012, Cindy y James Springer fueron removidos, dismissed, removidos como los tutores de Welch y la tutora pública Charlotte Hunter de la Oficina de la Defensoría Pública. That's gonna be our translation for public advocacy. Sección pública de tutores asumió las obligaciones de tutor de Welch. Now here we have two legal words, technical, guardian and conservator. In Spanish jurisdictions there's the tutors, there's el tutor y el curador, right? However, I believe that for purposes of this translation we can use the single word tutor to represent both. However, as I usually do in most translations, we can put just in English what we're trying to refer in parentheses for purposes of clarity. Okay. Fourth, la parte demandada, that's defendant, es un individuo adulto que reside en, and we can include the his address, okay? The same address, it's his address or her address en Alaska, 3rd Judicial District, tercer distrito judicial del estado de Alaska, and whose mailing address, cuya dirección de correo es, we can just add that part, cuya dirección de correo es, to include also his or her mailing address. Okay, so that would be a translation for this part of the complaint to Spanish. Let me know below in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions with any of the words I'm using. Okay, thanks. Please leave a comment and like the video if you did like it. Thanks.